The New York Jets are 2-0, at least over the last couple of weeks. What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Jets Report. My name is Patrick Seaman. We're going to talk about one of the weirdest and funkiest wins I've possibly ever seen over the NFL this past season, where the Jets beat the Cleveland Browns 27-20, and you knew heading into this game, it's the Jets, it's the Browns, two of the worst teams in the NFL this season. You knew this game was going to get weird, and it was weird indeed. Now, I want to start off here showing you guys Justin Fields' stats, because if you just look at the raw numbers, 6 of 11, 54 yards, had a touchdown, an interception, 28 yards on the ground, you're probably saying, how the hell did the Jets get to 27 points? Obviously, when you have 2 touchdowns on special teams, that helps the case. What is even crazier about this is you can pretty much subtract, again, if we're going to play this hypothetical game, a 42-yard Breece Hall completion, which he took to the house. Pretty much Justin Fields today, minus that play, was 5 of 10 for 10 yards and an interception. I would have to assume that no other quarterback in NFL history has just had this little of production and won a football game where also your team scores 27 points. But shout out to Kene Nwangwu. That kick return was absolutely nasty. And also Isaiah Williams, sneaky good pickup for the Jets. They started to get involved offensively in the Bengals game. And you just kind of try to get him the ball any way possible. And clearly he's got some big-time pop ability. I mean, Kene Nwangwu, one of the best kick returners in the NFL over the last couple of years. The 99-yarder he took to the house. Isaiah Williams had the 74-yarder he took to the house. But, Kene Nwangwu, he's got great vision. He's got great breakaway speed. And, on the Isaiah Williams one, watching it right now, it's got north and south, got skinny in the hole. And he's had a couple of guys to beat, split it back up, down the right sideline, Stone Smart leading the way. In a weird game like this where it's just that rock fight, chalky football game, you need your guys on special teams to somehow, make a play, and the Jets made 2. A 99-yard kick return and a 74-yard punt return. Tip my caps to the special teams. But Breece Hall, by far the best player on the football team. We can just call it like it is. That screen he took to the house was absolutely disgusting. The guy follows his block so well, and he looked so fast on that return. Really just special stuff, and just consistently churning on the ground, going against a good Browns defense. Obviously knew Aaron Glenn was going to stay committed to the run, same with Tanner Engstrand, and that's what they did. 21 carries, 83 yards for Breece Hall today, so tip my cap to him. He was a big reason why the Jets won this football game. And then, how about Will McDonald? Have yourself a day, my friend. 4 sacks on Dillon Gabriel. I think that has to be a career high for him in a singular game, but, hey, his name was floated around in a lot of the latest trade rumors, and he showed up, had a big time performance, and overall I felt like this game was kind of sounds a little funny calling it a culture win, but maybe they did it for Nick Mangold. I'm so shocked the Jets won this game. Obviously the Browns aren't a good football team. You get 2 special teams touchdowns. You should win a game where you take 2 kicks to the house, but top to bottom, it's just it's a feel-good win for this football team, where it really does feel like they're starting to rally around each other, because, think about it, you trade Sauce Gardner, you trade Quinnen Williams. It's just kind of human nature to this, kind of check out of the season and, just kind of say, all right, we're kind of done here. This team's given up on this season. We just lost 2 of our better defensive players, but these guys rallied around each other, special teams, all 3 phases today, and just the fact that you won a football game where your quarterback was 6 of 11, throwing for 54 yards, and 42 of those came on a screen pass. That is truly historic, and I do think that, Aaron Glenn kind of gets some credit for that, where, and again, Woody Johnson, I thought his comments early on in the season were egregious about Justin Fields, but, it is tough to kind of win football games with your quarterback playing as bad as as bad as he's played. And, honestly, listen, the Browns have a really good defense. It's not like this was an easy test, but Justin Fields, if you had to say, the top 3 worst just singular quarterback performances this year, you can take his first half against the Panthers, you could take his game against the Denver Broncos, and then, today against the Cleveland Browns, obviously didn't ask him to do a whole lot, only threw the ball 11 times, but I'm just pretty certain that this is Fields' last year as the starter for the New York Jets. I can't even really see him being a stopgap quarterback for whoever the Jets bring in next year, whether it's through the draft or they try to bring in a veteran. And obviously Tanner Engstrand and Aaron Glenn coming from Detroit, they probably want that more statuesque pocket passer, because that's Engstrand's playbook. He has to change it for a guy like Justin Fields. So listen, I thought that was a hell of a win. Why did the Jets win though? I'm gonna go Aaron Glenn. I'm going to go the culture and just keeping these guys locked in because he does get credit for that. Even though you're playing the Browns at home, one of the worst teams in the league, like you get credit for having those 53 guys, still ready to go, feeling it, and just wanting to go out there and play for each other. And that's what it kind of felt like for the Jets today. So I'm going to go Aaron Glenn. That's the biggest reason why the Jets won. But you guys let me know your thoughts down below. Now, before we dive into the rest of today's post-game reaction, I do want to tell you guys about today's presenting sponsor, and that is Prize Picks. Now, the hard-hitting football action is even better with Prize Picks. The weather might be changing, but the feeling of being right never gets old. So keep the season rolling on Prize Picks by getting $50 in lineups after you play your first $5. Now, Prize Picks is the only app that offers stacks. I mean, you can pick up to the same player up to 3 times in the same lineup. If you guys want to pick more on Josh Allen's pass yards, rush yards, and touchdowns, now you can't pick all of them in the same lineup only on Prize Picks. And you guys can also follow other Prize Picks players directly on that and copy their lineups in just one click. Whether it's a friend, a celebrity partner, or just someone whose picks you like, hit the follow button and check out every lineup they create in the new Feed tab on Prize Picks. So download the Prize Picks app today, plug in that promo code CLNS, get hooked up with $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. It's promo code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. But massive shout out to Prize Picks for sponsoring today's show. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. All right, let's show some love to the defense here. Overall solid performance. Dylan Gabriel, 17 of 32, 167 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, quarterback rating of 88.9. Ended up having 54 rush yards when it was all said and done. But I thought the Jets defense, more specifically, what you had to do on Quinshon Judkins. I thought Judkins is one of the most underrated backs in the league already as a rookie. He's physical. He has some breakaway speed. He is a very, very talented football player. And you knew the Browns coming into this one, they're saying, all right, we got to establish a run, get Gabriel some easy, third and manageable situations. But the Jets didn't really allow that. They still ran the ball 22 times, but only going for 75 yards, 3.4 yards per carry. If I told you that before the game, we would definitely all take it. So I thought the Jets up front got good push on that defensive line, and they won early downs, which was obviously so key heading into this kind of, rock fight of a football game, which it definitely was. So shout out to the defense, shout out to the linebackers, able to slow down the run game today. Now, Jerry Jeudy did have a nice little game, 6 receptions, 78 yards, 1 receiving touchdown, had a long catch of 22 yards as well. But, again, I really felt like the Jets on early downs were selling out on the run, so it kind of left these corners one-on-one. And you also have a lot of guys that are trying to make a name for themselves in the secondary, like Malachi Moore, A.Z. Thomas. They battled a whole lot today. I mean, I believe Tony Adams led the team in tackles, which I think is pretty crazy, especially when you have a good run, defensive game plan like they did today. So shout out to those guys. Shout out to Tony Adams, man. My guy right here. We all love Tony Adams. 8 tackles, 1 PBU on the game here. But Myles Garrett for the Browns, obviously one of the best football players in the league. Only had 1 sack, so I'll tip my cap to the Jets offensive line. Only allowed 3 sacks on the day. So that was pretty good. And the Browns obviously have one of the better defensive fronts in the league. Like Myles Garrett, obviously best defensive player in football, but I love Mason Graham, the young defensive tackle. He's a stud from Michigan. So he's obviously a lot to deal with. But, overall, I think the Jets just they battled today. And they have 2 returns for a touchdown. Like, obviously, it's going to have a little bit of a fluky feel to it, but you still were able to get it done. So shout out to the Jets. I mean, this is unreal. 27 points total, and you only have 169 yards of total offense, 3.9 yards per play. I don't really know what to make of this game. This was just a Jets and Browns game. But I am happy for the guys that they were able to rally around Aaron Glenn, get it done, and hopefully get some momentum heading into this Thursday night game against the Patriots. They're 8-2. You're 2-7. Let's just see what can happen. You never know. You never know, especially on those short weeks. You never know what can happen. Maybe the Jets can shock the world on Thursday night. But if you guys made it to the end of today's show, hit me with the Go Jets, Jets, down below in the comment section. Appreciate all of you guys for watching. As always, Go Jets.